Lead in prayer. The Heavenly Father, we come before you today to give you honor and glory and praise and say thank you. Thank you for your leadership. Lord, we ask you just watch over and guide and strengthen us. And Lord, a prayer for our community. We've lost several in this community in the last 3 weeks. Please remember St. John family, Kit Day, a 24-year veteran, EMT. Please remember everybody and their families, Father God. We know they're all hurting. Please guide us and strengthen us by your Spirit. Lead us and bring us together as a community. In Jesus' name, amen.
Amen.
Pledge. I pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
You see, roll call. Commissioner Risk here.
Here.
Warren.
Here.
I'm here under duress. Approval of the minutes. You just had a chance, hope you just had a chance to already look at it.
Yes, sir.
Everybody's had a chance? Good. I'll make a motion to approve the minutes of the June 5th
So moved.
meeting.
Second.
All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Approval of minutes. Mrs. Reeves? You want to do the financial report? Oh, I hate to claims and payroll. Got a bunch of them. Okay. Apologies, Sheila. Payroll, the total is $328,733.58. Regular claims, and I don't know about jump out of your seat over this, is $565,289.92. Out of cycle claims, $26,597.96. Total payroll and claims is $920,621.46. Out of that pile of claims, Sheila, what we had almost $500,000 for the highway. And for anybody that just bring you up to speed, won't talk about it very long, we're paying 2024 claims out of 2025 budget. So this $500,000 is going towards claims for the county highway that has to be paid. So that's the reason that number is very, very high. But that takes care of the claims, right, Sheila?
Yes.
All the past, okay. I make a motion, we approve total payroll and claims of $920,621.46.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay, Sheila.
Monthly report sheet. The original ones I sent you in your packet are dated 6/16. I did give you an updated one today because we have brought in more money, especially in the highway funds. The balances are coming up slowly. Our payment on payroll, so just, and again, the rest of them were where we have we got several of them out of the red over the last couple of days in multiple departments. So we're moving toward where we need to be going into budgeting.
Amen. Good, thank you, Sheila, for
Sheila,
providing it.
I had a couple of questions,
Yes.
Sam, if that's okay.
Yeah, you asked me a question.
1168, Sheila, is it zero? Was that one we were purposely running out of money?
Those are part of the ones that we got out of the red, and we met
Okay.
worked with the health department, and there were 5 or 6 of them, and that was one of them. That
Okay.
Those funds are closed, basically.
And then 1215, same thing?
That one is, there's a pending additional appropriation, that's election and registration, and that one will be out of the red as well.
Okay.
Council just approved a $28,000 appropriation in this month.
All right. Okay, thanks.
On the old business, the human resources position, council, I'm going to be, I know you're working with WIS, is that what's called? I'm also going to be meeting with the Jim Hotel, is that his name? Hotel. I was close. So we're going to have a couple different options. what you come up with, what I come up with. We're gonna be bringing this together at the next meeting in July, so we can present it to the council at their next meeting, and that's July. It's 21st, I believe. Isn't it?
Yeah, 21st.
21st, okay. We'll have everything to the council for their meeting on July 21st to get us a human resources position. It's a contract position, it's not an employee position. And we need that like ASAP. So we should be ready to go in July. Okay, jail project update. Okay. Make it short, sweet as best we can. The RDC met the other day, and we have to draft up, the attorney has drafted up a resolution on the swapping of the property. There's been a change. The total acreage that the county is going to swap is roughly 96.27 acres. In that site, there's roughly 6.7 acres of a landfill site. Mr. O'Neill is here today, along with Brett Franklin. They are their owners of the quarry. They do not want the landfill. So, is that correct, sir? I spoke with them. They have a copy of this map. It shows it on here where the landfill sits. If anybody needs a copy, we'll make you this copy. This little square section right here is where the landfill, it's going to encompass a little more. We're getting ready to get this surveyed. And around this landfill, there'll be a 50-foot buffer. Is that correct, sir?
Yes.
That way, if we need to get on there and walk the property, we have a 50-foot buffer off the landfill to do any work we need to do. So, and our, what's that thing you're drafting up called?
Resolution.
Yeah, thank you. In the resolution, it'll have to adopt the fact that we're not trading 96.27 acres. It's actually gonna be 89, or give or take, whatever it really comes up to. I just need to ask you, Mr. O'Neill, if you and Mr. Franklin, are you in agreement that you're not to adopt the landfill site? You don't want it? Okay. You'll have, on the resolution then, you'll have to bring that fine. We're going to be moving forward with the jail project. I know it's been a long time coming. Right here. There's a road and access. Been a long time coming on the jail project, about 14, 15 years. I got it somewhere. Guy smiling by with the glasses on, I know him from somewhere. It's been a long time coming. Everybody knows that the jail we got now is like polishing a turd, and it's just gotten worse. We can't afford to spend any more money. There's been a lot of good and bad negativity. What do you want to build a jail, lot, quarry, this and that? You know what? That's where it's been located. That's where the RDC found the best spot. And Mr. O'Neill, Mr. Franklin agreed to the swap, and we're going to move on with the swap. I'm sure I'll catch all kinds of thunder about this. That's okay, I got broad shoulders. But we're going to move on. Tri-County Surveying Company gave us a quote, just a verbal quote. It's going to cost about $3,500 to survey the 96 some acres out there. And Dave Meyer is going to take care of the quarry property and get it pinned and staked for us. So I'm going to make a motion that we allow Tri-County Surveying, I believe it's what's called Tri-County Surveying, to do the surveying for the 96 acres on 43 South, and for Dave Meyer to pin and stake the 9.5 acres out of the quarry.
I'll second.
All in favor? Pass 3-0. You're good to go, Mr. O'Neill,
Thank you.
unless you got any questions.
No, sir.
You're happy?
Yes, sir.
Good, that's all that matters, sir. Thank you, sir. I can't remember your name.
Carl.
Huh?
Carl,
What are you here for?
the road project.
Road project, okay. All right. Who's here for the, Heather, who you said was coming?
For
Haltom Heights. Who's here for Haltom Heights? Good. I want to go ahead and hear from you. Yes, sir.
My name is James.
That way you don't have to sit here all night.
Hit that button right there, bud.
Yeah.
All right.
Thank you.
My name's James Dewey, and I am a resident of Halton Heights. I showed up tonight to voice my concerns and grievances about the neighborhood I reside in. I want to go ahead and say that for the last couple of months, Heather has been an absolute rock star in helping with the matter. Thank you, Heather.
Glad to hear that.
We moved there about 10 years ago, almost 10 years ago, and it's progressively gotten worse year after year. I would like to see it change, specifically the property in front of me. I live right behind 9983. I know that Heather is actively working on getting it cleaned up. I was wondering if the Board of Health was going to get involved as well.
Well, do you have any comment yet on Haltom Heights? And I won't speak for them, but I can kind of maybe speak for them a little bit. They're going to get involved with Haltom Heights because they're going to have to, as well as several other properties in the county. This has been a mess, but I'll let you go ahead and finish talking, sir. I don't want to interrupt you.
This said property, and there's a few others in there. I understand stuff, junk, and garbage. I'll be the first to tell you that I have a truck that hasn't been plated in probably 12 years. It's actually belongs to my dad. But when you start piling up junk and garbage, it becomes a problem. I have spoke to the neighbor, the one in front of me, about an RV that they have parked there. And they have it parked in a way where I'm backing out my driveway. It's hard to see oncoming traffic with no results. And there was a night where he approached me about the other neighbor, him, those two got into it, and he was talking to me, and I told him I had no qualms about letting him know that I've called the Board of Health on him myself. And his reaction to that was to park his other truck on the other side of the RV. I mean, they have no regard for their neighbors, and that's the biggest issue I have. When you start having trash pile up, you can smell that, they burn their trash as a result of the red tag that's happened recently. So we're gonna burn everything that we have. So at night, we're sitting in our living room and we smell burning trash. We gotta shut our windows. This has been about a month ago. It's just gotten out of control. And the more happens down there, the more that type of people move in there. Last year, I was working a morning shift where I was getting up at 3:30 in the morning, and I was leaving to go to work. Well, I have a daughter that parks the school bus stop about 7. Adjacent property to me is abandoned, another abandoned one down there, and there's an SUV just sitting there. I pulled out the road. I come back and asked the guy what he's doing. He gave me some, off story about him and his brother going to meet up, go to Brazil, I asked him where's your brother live, and he said down the road right here. I said, why are you sitting here? I mean, it was obviously they're waiting there to get drugs also. And I guess that's the point I'm trying to make is, if we don't proactively do something about the way your neighborhood is, and it spirals out of control.
I agree.
Another thing on the said property in front of me, I've done some research, and there at some point has been a demo permit issued for the trailer sitting on that property, which has lowered the taxes, but the trailer still sits there. It seems like they're doing everything they can to live as cheap as they can and not actually upkeep the property. In fact, the actual owner is deceased since 2016. So the people that's living there don't actually own the property. And I was just wondering, I do believe that there hasn't been running water in this residence for quite some time. I do smell, you know, either sewage or human feces from time to time, especially like it's rained like it has. I was just wondering what the course of action the county was going to take to resolve this and what course of action they're willing to take.
You guys got any?
Well, I would definitely say the health department needs to get involved if we got a sewage issue or a trash issue. That's who's dealt with it in the past, right?
Here's what's going on. Here, just my 2 cents worth, sir. This has been a mess for a long time. And I appreciate Heather and Sean doing their due diligence and stuff like that. And that's kind of the reason we got this guy here too as well. It's gonna take the Board of Health, it's gonna take the building department, the inspector, and these 3 city commissioners to put some teeth into something. Now, we've had this stuff in the past. Sheriff's office goes out there and, they're violating something, they fine them or so on and so forth, then they get the song dance, they can't pay the fine and the fees. A lot of these properties, people living there are not the owners of the property. Some of them are, some of them are not. The only way for us to take care of it is to go after the owner, not the person living there sometime. We gotta go after the owner. That's his job. Not put him on the spot, but he is working on that because you can fine and fee somebody to death and they go to court and say, I can't afford to pay the fine. What are you gonna do? You don't get blood out of turn for people not paying their fines.
So at what point can the county seize the property?
Well, then, you wanna speak about it?
There is a process to do that. It takes some time, it takes some money. And when I get that sorted out and figure out sort of how much it's going to cost to go down that route, I'm going to have to talk to these gentlemen and we're going to have to figure out how we're going to do it.
Okay, and I'm just asking, just for knowledge, what is the cost to the county to do that?
Well, that's what I got to come up with.
What's that involved? Does that involve legal costs, cleaning up costs, what's?
Both. It's legal cost, it's cost of cleaning up and getting the
Okay.
property, and
I'm here to tell you guys right now, if you go down that road and you're worried about the cost, I'll fit the bill on the place down.
Yeah.
If
Well,
you guys wanna get it, I'll clean it up.
I appreciate that.
we appreciate that. The one thing we're going, yes, just a minute, sir. The one thing we're gonna go after is homeowners. The people that own the property. Now, and please step in if I'm wrong, if they refuse to get it cleaned up or pay the fines and fees, we'll assess it against their property taxes. That's one step. You start getting in people's pocket money-wise, they change their tune just a little bit. Now, here's my 2 cents worth. Some people I dealt with when I was sheriff, they cleaned up, did stuff like they're supposed to. Some people just absolutely just don't give a rat's. You start getting in their homeowner's pocket, the people who own the property, it's gonna change the tune. With that being said, and this is just my 2 cents worth, hit them hard. The $25 fine and fee, stuff like that, throw it out the window. People don't wanna pay attention to cleaning up the property, we'll hit them with fines, it's gonna hurt. That's my take on it.
So what do you guys do in a situation where the actual owner is deceased?
Somebody has to own the property. But, go ahead, sir.
Well, I was going to say, if there is no owner, if no one inherited the property and it's not been deeded to someone, then that may make this a little bit easier for me. But I just got to work through that.
I know it's been a process, and it's not something that happens overnight. And not throwing nobody under the bus, it's been a long time coming, but I rest assured, I believe this guy will handle it the proper way. And he's gonna be aggressive with it. We're not gonna play patty cake with these people. Yes, sir.
Back in fall of last year, I went to a couple of those agencies, those big companies that clean property up, and got to look at a couple of pieces of property up there in my area, because they were really bad. And when I got the prices down there, the property was probably worth maybe like $8,000, or something like that. But the cleanup cost, they wouldn't even begin to take that job unless they had $50,000 up front, because they have to scrape the soil and get that chemicals out of the soil, and you have to take it way up north up here and they charge you a lot of money for every ton of soil. It's a lot of money.
Yes.
So for the county to go ahead and say, well, we're gonna take that 8 acres and clean it up, it's gonna put a tremendous burden on the taxpayers just to clean that mess up.
Well, we didn't say anything about the county taking over the property. We're not in the real estate business.
Right, okay.
We're in people trying to follow the ordinances, the rules, and regulations to keep the county cleaned up.
And I'm just trying to let the citizens know that when you talk about a cleanup, it ain't like $500 or something. It's a really big number once that ground's been poisoned.
Oh, yeah, I appreciate it, but
Yeah, but the longer you let a neighborhood get blighted, the more resources that the county has to spend.
Sure.
you know, and once again, I'm gonna refer back to the attorney and give him a little more, I'm saying a little more the time he needs to get the legal part put into place, but we're not gonna play patty cake. You know, there's gonna be a substantial cost to this. And if we have to levy against people's taxes, we levy against people's taxes. I'm not a lawyer, so, I don't know what the legal rights to everything is, but he does, and he's gonna get that to us as soon as he possibly can. I don't think it's gonna be too much longer, because he knows it's a big problem in this county, and, I got full faith, confidence in him, he'll get it straightened out. I wish I could tell you more, but I can't. But you go ahead with anything else that you have, sir.
I think I went over pretty much all of it, other than, when I say that I'll clean it up, I mean that I'll clean it up.
Can you give me your phone number, please? If you don't care,
I don't care.
then what's your number?
812-585-4593. I've already reached out to the adjacent property to me that's an abandoned house, and I'm getting ready to purchase it, just so I can tear it down, so that I can look at it.
Okay.
So,
Well, I think it'd be a good idea if the Board of Commissioners and the Building Department and the Inspector and the Board of the Health Department get together and let's go out there and let's spend some time together out there on this Alton Heights. It's been a mess.
I'm happy to do that.
Let's try to do that next week, one day, when you guys can fit it in your schedule, let me know. Get you guys together and we'll go out there and give you a call. You can just meet us out there.
okay,
How's that?
sounds good.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, sir.
We got the resolution already, see the jail property. Pam Rogers will not be here tonight. Alcohol board appointment, I knew about this. Sheila had just fill me in on what has to happen here.
The commissioners have to appoint somebody to the board. If you have any names, you can do it, and if not, you can table it to your next meeting. But you're trying to realize your
What's-
resignation.
Barry Hughes is retired, resigned from the Board of Alcohol. Is that what it's called?
What are the qualifications that do we have a set of qualifications for this board?
I'll the state guy in the morning and have him email you through what the qualifications are and what you're looking for.
Can we please put this out on our website?
Sure.
Just put it out on the website, Beth, if you would, what we need, what the qualifications are, and see who we get any takers. Maybe at their next meeting, we have some takers. If we got one taker that's willing, that's got the qualifications and stuff,
Has to be in her district.
yes, that's District 1 up there.
Yeah.
Greg? Oh, wait a minute, Donnie. Donnie's here. Is this it? We always look through all this, and it's all good. This is just the lease agreement, isn't it? Sorry, Donnie, it's took a year to get this done.
It's totally up to you. At the same time, there's a lot of paperwork to sign. So if you gotta move on to something, I can stick around. Totally up to you.
You expect me to sign all this? Look at that, for the love.
I know, I couldn't do it. I got more in here too, so. I didn't bring any cookies with me, I apologize.
No cookies.
So it's, whatever you guys like, I'm clear the rest of the evening.
It's on the truck.
Yeah. If you guys need to move on and stuff, I promise you, I'm okay.
Well, we just let the commissioners, this is the lease agreement for the Volmac truck. It's a asphalt distributor, is that what you call it? What do you call this truck?
The oil distributor.
Oil distributor, okay. This is something that happened in, what year was it, 2021?
2023.
2023.
That's when it was originally ordered, I'm assuming?
Yes, this was ordered by the commissioners in 2023. It is expensive. It's not our doing. We've talked about this, don't we?
Yep.
Haven't we?
Yes, sir.
It's not this board of commissioners doing. So the public wants you to understand that. It's not the board of commissioners setting up for it to order this truck. This truck was ordered in 2023. It is not fair, I don't believe, to Donnie and his company that we tell them, well, I'm sorry, we don't want your truck now. But I do, and I've talked to Donnie, and I've talked to Joe Fry about this. This is a tune of $337,131.67, which we have a lease agreement, and I don't know what the amount is per year, but it's a 5-year agreement, Donnie, correct? Is that right?
I believe so, yes, sir.
It's on one of the sheets.
It's on one of these 400 sheets you got here to sign for me.
That's correct.
Before Norm came on, Dave and I agreed to this. I will put this out there for Donnie, for you, and for Greg, and if Joe Fry is listening. It's a lot of money for us, even though we can make the payment every year for 5 years. We're gonna make you that payment. It's $81,074.38 beginning in June of 2026.
Yes, sir.
Goes through June of 2030.
Yes, sir.
So with that being said, we're going to honor this, Donnie, because we have to.
Thank you, appreciate it.
Yeah, and I know some people are going like, dear God, how are we going to spend $337,000? Talk to your previous commissioner, I didn't order. But I think we need to honor the agreement that Greg, Donnie, and Joe Fry, if you're listening, you want to sell the truck, sell the truck. You ain't gonna need the truck. We're already in a financial crisis the way it is. $80,000 payments and $80,000 we can spend someplace else on it, okay? And I know you understand it because we've talked about that. But that's the price tag, $337,000, whatever it is. I don't know if you have another buyer that might be interested in this truck.
Well, I got Brian Belford from Southeastern. He's here with us today.
All right.
Hey, guys.
You want the truck? You want the truck, Brian?
Do I want the truck?
Yeah, you wanna buy the truck?
No, I want to sell it. I sold the distributor.
I'm just giving you a hard time, man. That's the only thing you use there to buy. You got a checkbook? But, we're gonna honor the agreement regardless.
Yep.
But if you do have a potential buyer, if he has a potential buyer, Greg, but I also have to ask the question, Greg, to you, is this something that we're going to get? Is it worth the cost?
If you're going to do the work, it's, worth the cost. If you're not able to do the work, then it's just going to sit there and be absolutely done.
Well, that's my question, I guess, to you, is we got some time to think about this, but if,
In all honesty, in the past, it's been, given by the board,
That is correct.
So with going in a different direction, we have to sit down and talk about it, going in a different direction. We might be just as well served to some.
Does that make sense to you, Donna?
Yeah, the only thing I got just between us here that's out of control of anybody at this board right now, you know what I mean? And Greg knows this, and we sat and talked, me and Chad, when we built this truck. It's a very utilized truck, meaning I just can't sell this to anybody.
Sure.
You know what I mean? It is for a specific job when it comes to chip and sealing, when it comes to, you know,
Yeah.
dust control, things like that. So with that, yeah, so far, we've racked up $9,730 in interest on this truck right now because of waiting on ways to get this financed for the truck. So that is cost, when we talked about that, same when it talks about, you know, lot payment interest rates we have on that, that's what we have to accrue. So I have to go back to my IRS to say, they're taking the truck, they're not taking the truck. I got documents out, and we met with Sheila on Tuesday to say, hey, can you put us on the board for today? She's like, absolutely, we'll fit you in somewhere. So I appreciate that greatly, I really do. But we're not going anywhere, you know what I'm saying? And Greg knows that too. I mean, the way we feel about it at Boomec is you guys, very good customers of ours, and we're not walking away just because you're going through hard times. That's when we have to shine the most for you. So if there's a problem that occurs, we got to get it. But at the same time, we moved the payment out for a year.
Yes.
A year to help with that. And I'm working with that NCL Capital, which is actually Tim Gosh is his name. Phenomenal guy. This is a source well deal too at that point with your source well number, 202199. So that max up to the Mack truck. So everything's set in stone. It's just one of the things where you guys came into a hornet's nest and trying to figure it out. And I'm sorry, but here's where we're at, you know.
It's not your fault, sir.
Yeah.
We still got some time under our belt yet.
Okay.
You know, I mean, we got some meetings and stuff we're gonna address and stuff like this.
Sure.
If we can utilize this truck to good use, we're gonna put it to work. We don't have any choice. I mean, we got $337,000 truck. I don't want it sitting in the parking lot.
That is correct.
You know, I mean, I want it to be worth,
Absolutely.
but that's something we're gonna have to talk to Greg and this board and meet and figure out what our best options are. I don't wanna take a loss on the truck.
Yeah.
At all.
Right.
It's, I'm not like, you know, that give me back stuff and lose $100,000 on something. I'm not for that, so.
No.
We do have some time, but we're gonna honor the agreement.
Okay.
Like I said, we're going to, and, I'll sign these 337 pages for you, okay?
Hey, Greg.
Go ahead.
Yes,
Sorry. Greg, I know we had talked in the past at some meetings about sharing it with other counties. Is this a piece of equipment that we could maybe, I don't know, charge another county to use? Is that a,
David has a plan.
okay,
Plan that goes far beyond this distributor truck with some of our other equipment.
okay,
That he has said and talked with me about in regard to trading the use of our equipment with other counties and municipalities, and then doing the same with us. He's been working on that for some time. We've talked about it in regard to distributor truck, we've talked about it in regard to our paver, and, you know, and some of our other equipment. Some needs that we have for our ditching. He is actually, you know, we've talked and he's working on making a trade in regard to some of the things that we need.
Okay.
So we are working on that. David's been working on that. Ours reached out to many different counties that I know of in regard to that. So it is something that is already in the works.
so I mean, that's a hidden value that we really can't put a number on, but it could come back and help us,
And
you know,
I don't
swallow
want to
this a little
say
easier.
that, I just know that I know that that's in the works.
All right, good enough, thank you.
I make a motion, we sign the agreement, with Bomac Trucks on, capital, NCL government capital on the leasing part for 5 years.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any
Should
opposed?
probably abstain because it wasn't on the original agreement.
201 abstention. You sit right there, sir, I'm gonna sign this right now, but I don't want you sitting there the rest of the night.
Oh, you're fine.
He doesn't
No,
actually,
make it do that.
doesn't actually approve.
It just takes my signature anyway,
That's
so.
where I was off.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was
There is one form.
One more form.
I know, it's exhibit C1. I just had to change it. Our sales coordinator, Robin, changed it, so if you'd like to look at it. All it is just changed from Womack Truck Sales to Vincent's instead of Terre Haute. We just had to change it. So that's the only thing that is for our, all of our Macs are sold through our Vincent's store, all of our Volvos sold through our Terre Haute store. So we had to get that changed, so it's copyrighted correctly through NCO Capital on that. And then the other documents that I have, David, is, and Sam, what they are is pretty much in touch base with Greg on this. So on our Mack trucks, we have what you call uptime preferences. So say, Owen County's got the truck out and they got a check engine light that comes on. So what we have is we're certified uptime center. So what it does is it triggers a phone call to whoever wants to be involved in that truck, meaning that there's someone running it where that phone call goes to Greg, where an email goes to Greg, to turn around and sit there and say, hey, you can run that truck, it's okay, but it needs to get to the shop. So I need to make sure who I need to appoint, be the point of contact on that truck when there is a problem with that truck.
I would say put Greg down for
Put
that.
Greg down with his email information, his phone number is okay?
Yes.
You good with that, buddy?
Yes.
Okay, all right, great. All right. So I'll fill these forms out, that's what these forms are for. If you guys would like to look at this, you're welcome. So if you'd like to look at it, this is just very standard procedure that we have for our truck when it comes to uptime preferences and things like that. Now, your warranty date will not start until this truck is completely into service. Okay, so if you guys have training you need to do on this truck, I'll be in contact with Greg at that point. That warranty date will start when you take delivery of this truck.
When are we supposed to take delivery of the truck?
I have it on the lot ready to go whenever you would like to. All we have to do is sign these forms. After you sign these forms, I turn around and give it back to Tim at NCL Capital along with the tax forms. And he wires us the money for the full amount. Obviously, your payments are in there, and then everything is good from there. And then I got the truck ready. Greg's already did what you call, like he does on all his trucks, cruise control, set road speed, usually 55, obviously. But this application in that truck, everything's set, it's ready to rock and roll. And Brian, you and your guys will be for tutelage for Greg and his guys for using the application for the truck, correct?
Every time we sell them.
So there you go.
Committed as soon as we can get that grade, actually.
Brian, you-
Counties need training as well, so. And we offer training, usually guys every 5 to 7 years. We bring people on site when they need to be retrained on it.
So Greg, with that being said about the training, Dave's big on the training. How many people are going to be trained on this truck?
I think at the very least, 3 of my Class A CDL drivers. That's what I have left of Class A CDL drivers.
Page for her to sign.
And I actually possess a Class A CDL on top of that, so I would say those 3 myself, and then although Chad doesn't possess it, I would like him to attend the training also.
We had trained last year on the chip spreader purchase from, so you would know.
So when would you do the training? Just whenever we can get together and get everybody?
I have somebody in-house and somebody from Etnire. They're both equally adept at training. So, you picking the machine up next week, right?
Yes.
So, and I would say that I'm going to make a phone call tomorrow morning and see when we can get there. And knowing that you guys are still off on Fridays, correct?
No, we work 5 days a week.
You are working 5 days a week, so tomorrow or Monday, you can tell me what preference is and what day preference is, and we'll set it up.
Very good.
Sounds good.
I will do that and contact David with the dates that we have.
If you have a guy who does the X-spraying, those are always the best distributor guys.
You
You gotta do the spraying on the
The
farm field.
Volvo.
Oh, gotcha.
Just the other documents that you were there.
Well,
Yes.
before anybody signs these, I think Greg, Melton's gonna have to review them and decide whether this makes sense or not.
Oh,
I think I'll-
absolutely, absolutely. Yeah.
I mean, this is for me to decide.
Yeah. There's no signatures for Greg, all it is Greg's information that goes on that for the uptime purposes.
Well, but one of these is a subscription agreement, and I'm saying before somebody signs that on behalf of the
Okay.
county,
Yes.
somebody's got to decide, whether this is something they want.
Okay.
Okay. Let Greg look.
Yeah.
We'll be up to Greg. Does that have to be, you need that tonight? Do you have to have that tonight?
I don't have to have that tonight, but before the delivery of the truck, I have to have it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Take some time to look at that, Greg, once you get done.
Sam, David, really appreciate you guys.
Thank you, appreciate you.
Hey, real quick on that subscription deal, how long is that for?
So it is standard on trucks for 2 years. It will expire after the 2 years.
So it's free for right now?
That's 100% correct, yes.
Okay, so it's free for 2 years?
That is correct, yes.
Okay, all right.
And then you also have on this truck a 7-year, 250,000 mile warranty. So that covers your engine, it also covers your engine after treatment. So your lease is only pretty much paying off the truck for 5 years. You have 7 years of warranty on your engine and your engine after treatment. So your truck is clearly covered on your engine and your engine after treatment, okay? When you get in the truck, it's gonna be high idle like this and stuff like that. I don't care what kind of brand it is, you're gonna have issues. So we wanted to make sure when sitting down with Greg and Chad, going over this truck, it was very crucial for us and for you guys to make sure you don't want surprise, for us. So that's the reason why we went down that road.
Got a couple of things. You're okay with that? So I got 2 questions for you.
Yes, sir.
The subscription after the 24 months, do you have a ballpark figure for us on that if we wanted to continue the subscription?
Yeah, absolutely. So it's actually $24 a month is what that is. I'm sorry, a year. So that's what it is. So what it is 1-800-52-ASSIST. And so with that, what it is you can turn around, you call this help hotline, and they turn around and they immediately sit there and tell you what's wrong with the truck. See if you get into the local service facility, which we are the closest to Owen County for a Mack dealership. With that being said, then at that time, we turn around and we take care of the truck, and it's in our system. You're assigned to that. You're also assigned a part service tech at that point too, if there's issues going with the truck. So, long thing for me to explain. Pretty much, it's kind of like a express lane, if you would say, try to get that truck, because when Greg has that application, he just can't stop in the middle of the road. He's laying down product. He's got to get it done. The reason why he went with a 3,500 gallon tank, the way I understand it, Brian, is so he could do one swap on the road. He doesn't have to do half and half. He can fly out his wings, if you would say, on that and spray it and get it done.
So, second question along the same lines. If we let Greene County use this thing, does that void any kind of warranty, or does that void our subscription? Does that void anything on the truck that then wouldn't be covered by?
Great question. It is not. Say, for instance, you turn around and you're like, hey, we don't want this truck. Actually, Monroe County or Vigo County would like it. The warranty stays with the truck. It is not tied to a customer. So it doesn't matter if Joe Schmo down in Evansville wants the truck. The warranty stays with the truck. If you bring that truck into our facility, we get the last date of the bid. At that point, what our service techs and our service drivers do, what's the warranty on it? This is the problem. I got to see what the warranty is, and if it's covered, that's the way it does it. So it stays with the truck.
Right, but I'm talking about in a loan issue, not we sell it to somebody else. Does it matter?
It does not matter at all.
Okay, and is that in this paperwork here?
If you do that, so I just want to make sure you understand, if you loan the truck out to someone, it's not going to matter at that point. That would be between you guys and them. What happens with the truck, God forbid they get in an accident, obviously that's insurance purpose, totally different thing. There's something that breaks down on that truck that is going to be fixed if it's an engine and the engine after treatment. It does not matter whose hands it is at that point.
So your warranty's in effect no matter who's driving?
No matter what. That's
Okay.
correct.
All right, well, thank you.
Yes, sir, absolutely.
Thank you, Forrest.
Did that.
Good question.
Thank you for your time. I'm
Thank you.
sorry.
You're all right, you're good, you're good.
Okay, so I filled in the date for Sam on these. We make sure he signed all of them. And I
Yep.
need a copy.
Sure. Yep.
As soon as, and
Yep.
then whatever Greg signs.
Are you here tomorrow, Sheila? Okay.
Yes, and then whatever date of delivery
Yeah, I appreciate it. I'm sure I might have missed something.
Thank you, guys.
Okay, Greg. Yes, thank you.
Good evening, Commissioners.
Evening, sir.
Since yesterday evening at 4 p.m., as you all know, the storm came through. The Highway Department answered 43 tree calls. Wow. We still have 13 roads that are closed due to power lines. I was just told, Chad just sent me a text while I was sitting here that Duke Energy has several truck stays at Boston Scientific, so I think we'll probably be out and get those cleared up this evening. But I hope they're here for us. So I think we'll get those clear. We have a lot of roads we need to return to because we have debris on the edge. We have them opened up, and they are passable when we worked on them today. And I would say even better than just emergency travel, but they still need a lot of work. Tomorrow we'll start running road drags. Today all we focused on was the trees themselves. We had one road impassable due to washout, and that was Vandalia. We run a road grader there. Excuse me. But we'll start getting the gravel road smoothed back out with maintainers tomorrow. It's going to be a process. We're keeping track just like we would in any other instance in case there's some kind of declaration. But I don't know if anybody else was hit like we were or not.
It was a mess. Town's still a mess. There's still a lot going on here in town.
I was in touch, as everybody knows, I was in touch with all three of these commissioners. Or part of my staff was throughout the night, and we do appreciate that, gentlemen. I gotta say, hats off to dispatch. I wouldn't know Steph if she walked in this door.
It's right there.
She did a heck of a job last night. And I want to say that from Anita, because there was so much coming in at one time. Dispatch was handling the fire departments and the police. Anita came in, and they worked together, and it made our communication very smooth. My guys were able to get the information they needed to get out of work because everybody worked together.
Yeah, good. Makes it nice when you work together, doesn't it?
It is. So, the bad thing was as good as you could make it because everybody came together.
Safety's paramount, Greg.
Yep.
I don't care what goes on, and I know everybody wants their road open today. Safety's paramount. Don't nobody getting hurt, don't nobody taking chances. That means we have to have a few hours downtime, gotta have a few hours downtime. Nobody getting hurt.
And I will note to everybody that the city commissioners made that very clear last night. I started sending guys home about 9. We intended to have everybody home at 11 to get commissioners for a few other calls. It was midnight before we put it to bed last night.
I knew he was out there, I was listening to the radio.
Just so everyone knows, I'm gonna go ahead and read off the roads that we still have power lines on that are closed right now here in the meeting. In the 7700 block of Locust Lake Road, 3200 block of Texas Pike, Rocky Hill Road, near the old dump site without an address, the 3600 and 3000 block of Country Club. Commissioners, those aren't because of trees, those are because of actual power lines in the roadway. The worst location is the 1000 block of Clark Road. The Clark Road in its entirety is just a mess. It has tangled wires and trees.
It is a
In at
mess.
least 3 locations.
Yes.
The one thing that I will note, Commissioners, last night we had an individual very adamant that we cut a tree that had power lines in it, and we did not. less than 30 minutes later, the fire department was dispatched to that tree because it was on fire. You cannot see that electricity. I just want everybody to know, I'm not going to ask one man to touch a tree.
Absolutely not.
Nope.
It
No.
will not happen.
No.
They are trained well, we are trained every year by our EMC, and they will not do it. Short Line Road, near the intersection of Byerly Road. Adel Road on that big hill near the bridge. Chardon Road. Hayden Road, and Hayden Road isn't necessarily because of trees, and it is passable, but it has a couple of broken utility poles. We have those coming off so people can get through. And okay, that would be the ones right now that I have listed as closed.
Okay.
And again, we may have those open, a lot of those are Duke Energy areas, so that may be solved here shortly, guys.
Now, them are all up on the website, right, on the Facebook site?
Pardon?
They're all up on the Facebook site, correct?
They are.
All the, okay.
They are.
How many guys you got out working now, Greg?
There are 6 out right now.
Okay.
Well, there were when I walked in, Chad texted me they were heading home, but he let me know that Duke was in the area, so I assumed we'll be back out here shortly.
Yeah, we're still waiting on some help from Duke here at the courthouse. We lost a leg of power here, so we have no elevator or air conditioner, so it's what it is.
The other thing, gentlemen, myself, Kevin and Benita attended phaser training last week, or this week, and Chad and Jeremiah Hutchinson attended the week before. Good information, there's a few changes. Maybe not so much this year, but going next year, a lot of things going AI digital, so we'll have to keep on top of that.
They're gonna rate things a little different than they did in the past.
Yes.
Whatever.
But I think you will find, well, not what I think you'll find that the ratings will be much lower than they have been in the past.
That's what I figured, yeah, okay. Whatever information you have on that training stuff, and you get a chance, send it to us three so we can
I sure will.
overlook it too.
It is, I have a, where you can swipe it and watch the whole program.
Oh, yeah, that's good, yeah. Get a cup of coffee, cup of cookies, over there you go.
Gentlemen, the annual operations report that I gave to you last meeting, we went ahead and sent that in unsigned. It was approved, unsigned, but I would still ask for a signature on that so I can send a signed copy.
I agree,
So
yes.
I have a copy of it.
We've looked at this before. Have you seen this sheet? It's,
This is
yeah,
it.
it's the same, nothing's changed. You looked at it, sir?
This is the one that matched your numbers, right, between the two of you?
Yes.
And we didn't sign it last time, okay,
Yes, you verified it,
right.
everything. And they all matched up perfect.
But he will.
Yes.
left for Norm to look over the SoftWorks agreement. Our software that we use, the maintenance agreement, I don't know whether you got a chance to look at it or not. As I explained at the last meeting, we own the software, so I suppose if we had a problem, it would may cost us more.
Right.
I really don't have a question, I don't know that, but we haven't had to call in for a long time for anything.
I didn't see any red flags in it. It looked okay to me. I mean, it's pretty standard software agreement. So I think you're okay there. I didn't see anything that bothered me, I guess. I'll say it like that. Now, we weren't supposed to sign that or anything. Is that you or is that us?
No, it has to be by email.
Has to be by us,
All
but
right.
that we give it to you because
Okay.
you're the IT guru.
All right. Do you have a copy of that? Because I don't have
I
it.
did,
It's down in the car.
I will bring you another next meeting.
Well, I have it, but it's
Not that.
down there.
Yeah, just bring it to us the next meeting, then you,
Okay. Or I can bring that copy if you want.
Gentlemen, I don't have anything further that I can recall to bring in. The gentleman is here in regard to Bridge 14. He spoke to you at the last meeting, so yes, no presentation.
yeah, come on up, sir.
So I just brought the agreement with me again. My name's Greg Nine with BFNS. The way we left it last time was for Norm to review it, and that's where we left it there. So I asked Norm if he had any questions. It sounds like he doesn't. Does anybody else have any questions over here?
I don't. You got any question on Greg?
No,
Have you looked at
I
it?
just want to be clear.
We're good?
that This is going, and I know we presented, this is going to have to be a federal aid project, so there's certain hoops that we have to jump through, but it's required to have some money just to do that. I've talked to this gentleman actually on several occasions, but I'd had to walk outside the meeting during the last one, so I didn't realize he was coming back today with the presentation for signature. And I told him that, so.
So I Sheila, you guys weren't.
That's fine. You want to briefly go back over it, just real briefly, so the public out here knows?
Yep, so this is Bridge 14, this is Tower Road, over
Yes.
Mill Creek. This is a historically select bridge, so that's why I asked to go through the federal aid process. It's got stone abutments and things like that, that's what makes it historically select. And because of that, you have to go through the federal aid process. So typically, when you go through that, it's an 80-20 split. 80 from NDOT federal and 20 at county. So that's how we got here. This agreement is for $205,000. That covers our design fees and what's called the HBA. That's the initial assessment of the bridge. That will suggest how it should be designed and how it should be constructed. So that is the design and the HBA and one cruise. That way you're not doing two separate. And then this is set up in stages. So it's 30, 60, 90. So we get to 30. If you guys don't want us to go to 60, we'll stop there until you guys give us the green light. That was per Greg's request. That's how we set it up.
So what's the upfront cost for the county?
Well, it's going to be, like I said, 30, 60, 90. So you're only going to get billed for what we do. Total is going to be $205,000.
The total cost for the county, correct?
Yeah. For the design.
For the design, yes.
And then once you go to construct it. But we don't have a true cost yet until we do the HBA for construction. That's when we'll know how much the construction is going to cost.
Well, I did, gentlemen, I asked the council, and they did budget to set aside, and then it was done $100,000 each year for the next 5 years out of the 1173 fund to go for this process.
So how much do we have set aside now?
Last year was the first year, this year would have been the second 100,000, but
Is it set aside?
it is set aside in a line item in the budget. As long as the cash balance will hold up, that is reserved. That was the purpose of setting it aside.
The bridge at this point in time, commissioners, is passable with a 3-ton load limit, and it does have restriction in regard to height. The thought process was to get the bridge back up where emergency services would cross it, fire trucks, ambulances, and that type of thing with a reefer. One of the other things that makes this bridge unique, puts it as select besides stone and abutments, it's a 2-span bridge. The bridge is 2 different kinds of spans. I can't speak to one was both truss, one was a Sperry. I can't remember what the second low truss is, but makes it unique. That's the reason it was put on the National Historic List.
So, and I don't want to be a cog in the wheel by no means, but I got a couple things to think about, you know. So it's a historic bridge.
Correct.
We could build a bridge beside it, couldn't we?
Yes. And that's what we were talking about doing as part of this, was building one beside
Is that part of this proposal here too?
it. Not yet. That'll be part of the HBA.
Here's-
That's what's gonna give you your options.
We don't have $500,000 for the historical bridge. It's gonna be a while before we have that kind of money. And I understand it's historical. What's it gonna cost us to build a bridge beside the historical bridge?
I can't tell you now until we.
Come on, man. Throw a number out there, yeah.
I think that would be our best bet, just build a bridge beside it.
Or do we build it to the north or we build it towards the south?
The one thing that we do have, commissioners, is quite a bit of property up around that bridge, and I can't tell you exactly why that
Right.
we do. I don't know whether, I know it's been refurbed once already, back in the 80s. And I don't know whether we purchased that extra property then, or we've always owned it, but, I believe that there's enough property there to build a bridge beside that. We may have to come up with maybe a little on the south. I would say we'd have to build a bridge to the east side. And I think the southeast side, you may have to come up with a little bit of property on the southeast side, but I think we own enough elsewhere that we wouldn't have to do any acquisition to build a bridge.
Now, would one of them modular bridges work okay out there on that?
I would say no, it's too big.
Too big?
You might answer that better.
I'm gonna stay away until we do the analysis.
Okay.
Before we're gonna know what the bridge should be, how much it's gonna cost, because that's gonna give you multiple options. And then at that point, you guys will be able to pick from them and say what you want. And then if you want a specific bridge included in that HBA, that's something we can look at too.
Okay.
Until we go through this process, commissioners, we can't even apply for the grant. And the
Well,
grant
that's-
process now is taking, I mean, they say 3 years, but I believe in all honesty, it's 5 to 7, if I'm correct.
It's hit or miss everywhere, that's all.
So maybe,
Guys, what's your thoughts?
I'm thinking we just build a new bridge. This old bridge is gonna keep nickel down us to death. And we're already weight limited on it, height restricted on it, so
But we have to go through the study.
I don't think there's a way around that.
Unfortunately, not.
It's a lot of money.
So you're saying to get the grant you're talking about, this is a necessity,
Correct.
right?
it is a necessity.
And then we step out to the side and we go through a whole different process than to build a bridge next to it.
Yeah, so this is just the design, and then
Right.
construction will be a separate contract that's bid out. But that's when your 80-20 split is gonna come in, is 40%.
October, November, just asking. That's right, federal fall.
So we wouldn't get it this
No.
year. And then this was set up for
half of this
Do we
on
move
hand
now or
for
wait to see what the
cash.
budget's gonna be?
Gentlemen, the one thing, and I don't want to say, the federal call is October or November of this year. We wouldn't have a chance at the time they did the study to do it this year anyway, so you'd be looking, and I don't believe so, would it, you get this amount of study and work done by then. So I think we wouldn't be prepared to apply for a federal grant until October, November of the following.
Of next year?
Norm, if you flip kind of to the back of it.
Yeah.
There's a schedule on there, so it's 150 days for the plans to be designed, and that's what's gonna be your problem, putting you right at federal aid law,
You're right.
and then 180 for final.
And you're usually right on that as far, I mean,
Yeah, I did confirm that. The only thing to keep in mind is it has been a little while since we first did this agreement. So, for bids of April 2026, that could be later on in some years. in 2026.
Yeah, I understand that.
What has been your experience with the federal government in the last few months, last 6 months, regarding the availability of these grants? Have there been changes to that? Have there been changes to the grant program that you're talking about?
Not federally and not wise, yes.
As in not good changes?
For NDOT, it depends how you look at it.
I don't know what that, I don't know what that means.
Okay, I think things in regard to the grant process are going to change drastically. We may not know that yet, it may not be public yet, but I believe it's going to be changed drastically. I mean, I just came from, a seminar where, it's going, one pot is going like from $375 million to $100 million. Well, that's going to make things very competitive, and that was just in regard to state funds. NDOT's going to control these federal grants too, so
Sure.
I am very skeptical of anything right now that's going on until we get some more legislation down and get ready to get know really what's happening.
That's correct.
So I don't think any of us know what that legislation is right now on that level.
Well, we're looking at a substantial revenue loss for next year anyway. And I may be wrong with the number, Paul, you may know, the number I got today is $1,063,000. That's for next year. Then the year after that, it's 1.1 million. Then the year after that, it's 1.3 million. Is that correct?
Right, that's total, that's not much in effect, just the county, but that's like a total. School, library, county, all of that.
Yeah.
so let's say we invest this $205,000 and then we can't get a grant, we're out $205,000, correct?
Not necessarily, not the full amount. You will be out some for some of the studies that are involved in this, but not the, you'll still have that design. But things like your environmental, you may have to redo. If there is a small portion of right-of-way acquisition, you may have to redo that. But you'd still have your plans set, if that makes sense.
Is
How-
two? Go ahead. No, you go ahead.
So how long would this design be viable?
You really want to get it in a year, so you want to do your design in a year and then put it out to bid right away. That'd be your best bet. But it depends how you look at it. That could be taking a risk because you don't know for sure if you're going to get the grant. Most likely, if you guys have your 20%, you will get it. But I say that's most likely.
But we don't have
So-
any idea what that number's gonna be.
Is 2 weeks gonna hurt us for anything?
No.
Okay. I want to, and I understand where we're at, but I want to spend the next week, I want to go through some numbers. because we have a cash flow problem, a major cash flow problem, and we're gonna have a bigger cash flow problem next year. But I understand this has to be done in order for us to try to get the grant. So, I know, I appreciate you coming. You've been coming for the last 6 months, everybody wants. But I need to get some numbers put together to make sure we're gonna be able to afford it. Because like I said earlier, you know, it's, the circumstances that has got the county in the shape that it is right now, we have to figure it out. I hope you understand that.
Yeah, definitely.
So, just,
A quick fix on it is the 1176 fund only has $388,000 in it right now, and if you was to take that 200,000 out that has already been reserved for it for just this, that would only leave them $188,000. And we still have 6 months to go.
yeah, so we got a fairly decent projection of what we're getting this year. And I want to assess those numbers. I don't want us to be in a bind, because it's just unfortunate we got a cash flow problem. So you give me 2 weeks, you come to the next commissioners meeting.
When is the next commissioners meeting? So I'll be on vacation that first
Vaca-
week of July.
July 3rd,
Yeah, I'll be on vacation that week.
seriously? July 17th then will be the next one.
Okay.
So, because I want to sit and talk to the commissioners, and I want to talk to Greg, as well as some financial people.
I could try to see if I can get somebody in my place for that meeting, if that's okay.
That's fine. It won't take me 2 or 3 days to figure out where we're going to be with the numbers.
Okay.
I'm just extremely worried about our cash flow.
I think when the council committed to reserving $100,000 a year over a 5-year period, we weren't aware of the cash flow, and that makes a big difference. And that, if they signed it today, it's unfortunate because the council will have to come up with the money even if they agreed. So working together and making sure the numbers are together. It's not that anybody doesn't want it, and feel sorry from the route that's out there, but you gotta be able to pay your bills too.
Commissioners, and I, forgive me, I know you've done your job here, but we're pushing down, you know, even being able to apply for the grant, call with 150 days and getting everything done. To make sure that we can, you know, even get applied for the grant. I think that is quite a task. You know, the point in time in the year we are, you know, with the timeline that we have to have. So I'll just say, gentlemen, I think it needs to be put, we apply for the grant if it still exists. I mean, we don't even know if it's gonna exist this year at this point, or how much it will exist. So I think I say, I mean, I know you, I'll just say kick the can down the road and apply for it and have things together for, you know, 26, October 26. And the bridge is functional at this time, and we know it takes, I know it takes many years to get a federal aid project under wraps, but,
And
that's probably not what he wants to hear, but I think that's just, what we're faced with. Faced with that cash flow, faced with that time.
Yeah, neither one of them's working in our favor. And the cash flow is going to be,
Right now, the cash flow is detrimental to the budgets that you're looking at for 2026. That, you know, we're waiting to get through the next 6 months as much as you can, but when new budgets start, but we don't know what the state's gonna approve for the new budgets. And hopefully, if there's a conference Saturday that a few of us are going to, that will find out a little bit more information. So to reserve as much as you can as possible, as long as you can, is, as the auditor.
If we get the same budget that we have, I mean, if we get the same budget next year we got this year, we make things work. But if they cut us, we're gonna be in trouble. The county-wide's gonna be in trouble.
So here's my question, if we take it down the road, do we just set this up to start this all next year? We can sign it this year, but we can put a start date of January 2026, or whatever we choose. Or do we keep revisiting this year in hopes to do it, to start it this year?
I think I'm gonna continue to revisit it for a little bit until we put some more numbers together to see exactly where we're at. I'm not gonna strap the county by no means. I'm not gonna strap the highway department because, you know, if we get a tornado that comes through and wreaks havoc and they're working around the clock and we need money for stuff like that, I wanna make sure we're in a good enough shape where we're not robbing Peter to pay Paul. We've had plenty of that. And we're not here to rob Peter to pay Paul. I want the county highway to be able to stand on its own 2 feet. So
let me ask you this, is it okay if I call one of you guys next week to figure out what path you want to move forward with this?
absolutely.
Okay. And then we can, if
Send
this
us-
needs to be changed. if we
Send an
change-
email to all three of us, that way we'll all three be on the same page,
Okay.
okay? Then we can discuss it, talk about it, and then maybe we'll have you at the next meeting, maybe a July 17th meeting. I don't think it's gonna be, I think we're gonna find out some more information here in the next few days, about some things. I have, I'll leave it alone, I won't say it at this time, but I'll have something to say here in the next couple of meetings about some things. I just want to make sure we're in the financial shape, that we're not putting us in a bind, the county council, or the taxpayers. It's unfortunate we're in the situation that we are, but we're going to get out of it. We got a plan.
Okay, so I'll send you guys an email like Thursday next week.
That'd be great.
You guys can-
Send it to all of us, we'll review it, and we're not going to leave you hanging. I appreciate you keep coming back, so,
Thank you. Thanks
Thank-
for taking the time.
yes, thank you, sir.
Thank you, Bob.
That's great.
You got anything else?
I do not.
Is that it? All right.
Thank you, commissioners. Oh, she doesn't want.
You need to sign that, and then you guys will sign this.
Department heads. Come on, man. You got 5 minutes.
Pointed to you, or? All right. Give you guys copies of ordinances, nothing new, just for your reference, all the talk.
More? Almost, just about.
Okay, so the commissioners tasked Jack White and I with kind of the subcommittee responsibility on the ordinance for the 911 board. So we were asked to bring some recommendations. What you have there is the 911 board ordinance, that created the 911 board, and I think also the one that created the director for the 911 board, or the 911 center is on there. The second one, the 2000, or the 2019 or 2024, 14, whatever it was, That was an amendment to the original ordinance, just so for reference. So the things that we came up with as far as the subcommittee and with speaking with members of the 911 board, the first thing we would ask is that you repeal ordinance or amendment 2024-14. That amendment listed some verbiage in the ordinance that restricted the 911 board's ability to participate in certain things involving dispatch, and completely restricted us to only policies, hiring, making recommendation for hiring of the director, and assisting with the budget. There's a lot of other things that the 911 board can participate in with dispatch, especially when a new director comes on board, whenever that may be. So I would ask that that amendment be repealed. Another thing that was brought up, so part of our responsibility from the board is making a recommendation to hire a director. We would also suggest that it be added to the ordinance that the board have the ability to make a recommendation to terminate the director as well. Not that we would have needed to in the past, but I think there should be, the purpose of the board is to have expertise from all disciplines there. And I think there's been some problems in the past of addressing certain concerns and how those certain concerns get to the commissioners. And I think an appropriate place for that to come from would very, very likely be the 911 board. That kind of has an ear to everything that's going on with the center. That would not mean we're terminating anybody. Just as we bring a recommendation for hire, we would come to you and say, hey, here's what's been going on, here's what we've documented, and we think something needs to be addressed with the current director.
You're saying that would need to be added to the 2019 version?
Correct.
Right.
Correct. Another thing we've discussed is currently the board, and Dale's probably back there like biting his nails, like if he says that right. We do not want to be a disciplinary board. That is not what we want to do at all. So we don't want to be in the position where the director, every time someone's late for work, calls the 911 board and says, you need to do something with this employee. That's the director's job, not ours. And we don't want to be in that position. However, we would like to have something in place that we would be able, again, in the event an issue is discovered with an employee or the way an employee is operating, that the future director may or may not address appropriately or address at all, that we have some manner to be able to go, again, to the commissioners and say, hey, we have this employee that has these specific issues, we've addressed it with the director is taking no action, we're requesting you guys step in and take action, or direct the director to take action. Does that make sense? So the director would still be handling discipline. This would be in the event the director did not appropriately or did not at all address a situation that's happening with one of the employees.
And if that is the case, who terminates the director?
The commissioners terminate the director. We have no hiring, we have no authority over that.
Yeah.
And in that specific situation, I mean, that may turn into two things at once. You know, that may be if there's a dispatcher that needs something addressed that the director is not addressing, that could turn into, you know, some disciplinary action for the director as well.
Right.
And again, I'm not saying anything is currently happening right now, but you guys asked us to go through the ordinance and come up with what we think would be added over the last couple of years of issues we've come up against or addressed, and these are the things that we had that I think could potentially help in the future.
The attorney's got.
Yeah,
Yes.
I'm confused. So, you have asked for a repeal of the 2024 ordinance?
The amendment to the ordinance.
Okay.
That's that one right there.
That's right. So in 2024, there was an ordinance that repealed the 2019 version. So
Yes.
the 2019 is out. This is in place, and this is what currently controls. What is it you
Yes.
want to replace this if this goes away?
The commissioners have asked us to, the old ordinance that was previously replaced is a good document. It's good. So we would like to revert back to that with some modifications.
And what are the modifications?
That's what I'm discussing now.
Okay. All right.
So you don't want to resort back to the original
Correct.
ordinance.
The amendment only, the amendment is much shorter than the original ordinance. It doesn't address a lot of the things that are in the ordinance. It simply changed one section. The new ordinance, the amendment, is only one section that says the board can no longer do this. And I'm not even gonna get into why, you guys already know why that happened. So, I'm not even gonna get into that and waste everybody's time. So, it obviously caused a problem. So, there is, I'm sorry, in section 7, and I'll give you, I can give you this for reference too. In section 7, it states that any subcommittees should consist of 3 members to include the sheriff and the chief of police. I don't know why the sheriff and the chief of police are mandatory in that. If it's a fire issue, the subcommittee's discussing something related to fire, I don't know why 2 police officers have to be on that board, or that subcommittee. We have fire representation on the board, they should be able to be a part of that. So I would like that verbiage to be taken out. And then at some point, there's some definition issues. One of them is the responsibility of personnel standards. And that is something that we would like to be clarified as to what personnel standards mean. If we're talking uniforms and simple things like that, we don't, that shouldn't be a board issue, that should be a director issue. So since this board was created and the ordinance was established, there's been nothing but confusion between the commissioners, the board, and the employees, and we want to get it squared away and everybody on the same page so that we can actually operate. Especially at this moment, because as you know, we're without a director, and we're trying to establish that and get that going again, and it's hard to bring a director on and not be able to explain to them what the advisory board does in relation to their job or with the commissioners.
The section you were just talking about, where's it at in here?
Section 9.
There you go. Thanks, Dale.
Section 9? Can you run through what you wanted added in here?
On that
On
section?
that section?
On that section, we just need clarification on what personnel standards means. If personnel standards is interpreted as referring to, again, uniforms, things like that, that's has nothing to do with the board. We just need that clarified.
Anything else in section 9?
No, that's it. That's
In section 7?
Six things.
Section 7, remove the police chief.
Correct, and the sheriff?
Sheriff. And sheriff, yeah. Okay, go ahead.
That's it.
You want to repeat all that so we know
You want, maybe, if you want me to.
Well, here's what would help me, as the person who's probably gonna have to revise this ordinance.
Yeah.
Your 6 months ain't up yet.
I mean, you just need to go through section by section and tell me what you are requesting.
I can do that. Do you want me to just like do a draft copy or something?
Yes.
Okay. I'll do
If you want to write, what you could do is mark up a copy
that. Yep, will do.
with suggestions. You don't have to make it perfect, just tell me in general what needs to be done.
I don't know
with
your
these sections.
attorney lingo anyway, so I'll just write it and.
Just send that to me and then I can share it with folks.
Sure.
I think that would be good.
Yep, I
That'll
can
be
do
the
that.
easiest.
So-
Lastly, again, as you know, we, 911 Center does not have a director right now. So at this point, there's no director, there's no assistant director. They have no one to go to other than you commissioners. I am typically a pretty common point of contact for them. Every time we lose a director, I tend to be a point of contact anyway. I don't know how you word it or what it would require to do it, but I would ask that moving forward until we address this director issue, that you would give me the ability to handle personnel matters with the 911 center. I've talked to the sheriff, he's okay with it. Again, it's not an everyday thing, but they need somebody to be able to contact that's there. I'm there every day. I'm right across the parking lot from them if they need something, so.
So is this gonna include, write-ups, verbal reprimands?
If it comes to it, typically how I've handled it in the past, if there has to be disciplinary action, I would notify you first. I don't anticipate, and I'm not saying this because of disciplinary action specifically, but any other questions, any other issues that they have relating to scheduling or just general operation of the facility, at this point, I have no authority whatsoever to direct them to do anything. They can
Right.
take my advice or not, and it's not been an issue, they do. But I think it would be good for them to have an official from the commissioner, this is your point of contact, this is who's going to be handling certain administrative things until we get this squared away. Again, if you guys want the phone calls and want to handle it yourself, that's fine. I'm just trying to take something off of your plate because I've done it plenty of times in the past, I'm fine with it. So
How full is your plate?
it's fine,
You good?
it's fine.
Well,
We finally got rid of our DOC inmate, so it's a little bit more empty right now.
commissioners are not dispatchers. We're not 911 directors. It's just, the director is simply an appointment by the commissioners. I'm not in the disciplinary situation because let me back up. I know Dave's been involved quite a bit here lately. I haven't heard nothing. Not a peep. Good news, no news, good news as far as I'm concerned. But I know Dave's been involved a lot. Talked to him about that today.
Yeah.
I was a little bit wondering why. Was not all three commissioners being notified? We're not, but I'm gonna stay calm. Dave will not, or my 2 cents worth. You have a board of commissioners sitting here. Not one. We did this before, and it turned into an absolute, you know what I'm talking about? If things are happening in dispatch, I want all three board of commissioners to know about it. Now, other than the 911 director, which falls under our purview of appointed people, if you want to take on the helm of being the contact, he's got to have more, to me, I think it's got to be more than he's just going to be the contact person. I think it needs to be something that states that Chief Deputy Matt Miller is going to be the 911 director, temporarily fill in or something. And here's the reason I'm saying that. If somebody gets in trouble at dispatch, they can come and talk to you about it. That's fine. I'm okay with that. But what if somebody needs reprimanded What if somebody needs rode up? Who's gonna handle that? Board of Commissioners? Not me. It's not my purview. Why? Because I'm not a dispatcher. I don't know the ins and outs. I mean, I can answer the rest. Does that make sense? Does that make sense to you? But for Dave Riss to be the only person getting the phone call, stuff like that, I got a burn on my side.
Well, and that's kind of what I'm hoping that this will address.
I think it will too.
So, you know, they are clear on who their contact is and who they need to talk to. And again, I try to go in the center and I talk to Alyssa and Stephanie all the time.
Right.
So, you know, and they're back there, they'll tell you I don't think they have any objections. I'm not trying to come in and
No.
take any power away from anybody or anything. I'm trying to make it a little smoother of a process until we get a director, and give them some clarification and, so they know exactly where they need to be going, what they need to be handling.
Well, I'm all about you, Chief. You've dealt with this for years and years and years. It seems like you always get thrown into and it's unfortunate that it's not because we want to help, but our help comes from the outside, so to speak. I hope the dispatchers understand that. I think Matt will do a great job, but I think that you're going to have to tie some sort of language to him filling in order to handle everything up to termination. And if he wants to come to the Board of Commissioners when it comes time, if God forbid that would happen by any means, but I think if it comes to the time that he feels that he needs to terminate somebody, you still have your board. But
Well, and that's, again, some of the things I just mentioned in that ordinance.
yes,
Would apply in that situation.
Yes, it
So
would.
a lot of the things mentioned in the updating the ordinance, as we talked about today, in the event we are without a director again, some of the things we talked about in the ordinance more or less put the board in the position to be able to operate the center in the absence of a director.
so when you send him the revised ordinance type thing with the things you want amended,
Mhm.
you send it to him, he writes up something, he gets it to us, we look at it and we approve it. I'm good with that. In the meantime, we need somebody for the dispatchers to go to. You two here, does that make sense? Besides the commissioners. Nothing against Mr. Risk or Norman, or nothing against these guys. If you're gonna communicate with one commissioner, you need to communicate with all three. And we don't, that's all I need to say. We don't need to dig into the weeds about nothing. Send it to all three commissioners so we can study it or whatever. But in the meantime, I suggest we put Chief Deputy Miller in as,
Acting interim director with director responsibilities.
Oh,
did you get that title?
thank
You should have a
you.
bigger plate put on your desk. Acting, what?
Interim director with director responsibilities.
But no,
The only caveat I would add to that is, I do work for the elected sheriff. I've talked to him about doing some of this. So pending an objection from him to say, you know, whoa, I don't want you taking on the responsibility of the whole center, I'm fine with it. Because to be completely honest with you, all of the day-to-day difficult work, Stephanie and Alyssa are doing that now. They're taking care of payroll, they're
Payroll
taking
and
care
scheduling,
of, they're
right.
taking care of the schedule,
Right.
they're taking care of the day-to-day operations. To be honest with you, projects and things are on hold at the moment. We have a radio project we can't put on hold, that's going. But anything else, we're kind of in a holding pattern at the moment. We've had to hire some people, we're trying to work on some training things right now. So we've got two brand-new dispatchers that just started, and they're handling that part of it. So it's not like I'm gonna move over into the dispatch center and I have to have an office in there. I'm still gonna be doing my normal job, and just communicating with
but you're going to
them.
be the buffer between them and us,
Yes,
instead of going from them to us.
yes,
And we go down and do the buffing, so to
Yes.
speak. So are you okay with us presenting that acting?
I don't care what you call it. I mean, I just want them, I just want them to know who they need to contact, who to go to with issues, and I want them to have some clarification on that while we sort this mess out and get a new director hired.
And I'm gonna ask another question, and do you, in your heart of hearts, I'll tell you my opinion. I'll tell you my opinion first, and you tell me yours.
That's the usual.
The 911 dispatch center will need a director. Whether it's in the next 2 weeks, or in the next 6 months, or a year. We, just me, as one of the board, and council, Paul is still here, you know. We have to make it worth somebody's while to be the director of Owen County 911 director. Because it was under our purview, Matt, when we worked together in the sheriff's office, and I want us to work towards the goal, and I know we've had some conversation, I think we're headed this way, that this county comes together and whatever, talking, transparency, whatever, we need to find an absolute good, wonderful director to direct the dispatchers. Do you agree with that, sir?
I do.
Okay.
But finding them's one thing, keeping them's another one.
Well, and don't want to open up no can of worms about anything, but you know where I'm going. It costs. You get what you pay for. And I'm sorry, I know we're in a financial, but public safety is paramount to this county. Public safety is number one. So I think everybody knows where I'm at with that. So in the meantime, we have to make a motion with him. We make a motion that you're in charge. You're gonna be the acting intern director, full responsibilities of director's duties, foresee whatever's happening down in dispatch land. Does that sound good? You guys okay with that?
Yeah, it's not gonna be any different than what's going on now, so, yeah. I mean, Chris is helping out with, we're all kind of doing our part. Chris has been kind of watching for claims and dealing with that kind of stuff. I've been helping with the hiring and that part of it. Again, Stephanie and Alyssa have been doing scheduling, payroll, and the day-to-day stuff, so the wealth is getting spread out. Again, I just want a centralized person for them to contact. I don't expect after time anything to change whatsoever from what's been happening at all. So again, you can title it whatever you want it.
If the dispatchers need something from the commissioners, please address all three of us. That way we know. Because when, you know, I hear about something, I'm like, what? What? I don't know. And Norm being new, and it's a whole different board of commissioners than it was in the past. And we're gonna work towards the goal for the betterment of the community and everybody, dispatch as well. We know it's hard, and we know, and my hat's off to everybody, but Matt, my hat's off to you. We've been together a long time. Seen a lot, but, you know, you stepping up to help out the cause is, and if the sheriff's okay with it, that's my motion.
I'll second that.
All in favor?
Aye.
You get whatever I called you. That's what you are.
I want to see you two after the meeting, please.
So whatever that title you got, that's what you got.
Thanks.
Anything for you, sir? No. Okay, any other department heads?
Just like to note too, before anyone freaks out that's listening, that is with, I'm not getting the director's paycheck or anything like that, so.
I thought it was an extra 100,000 a year.
No.
No? Okay. Any other department heads? Elected officials? Paul, you got anything? You bring a checkbook? I ask you that every time you show up at me, you bring a checkbook or not? Public comment?
Hold on, Sam, I have the one thing.
You got, let her rip.
So, and I don't remember when the ordinance happened, I remember us talking about it, but adding the parcel number to a sewer permit so that we know where what parcel the permit covers, and in the future, then we would know where that finger system, where that septic tank and everything is by the parcel number. And I'm told that that's available in the recorder's office to be added already in the software. There's a line for it, and I think we had an ordinance that covered it, but I don't know that it was ever implemented, and I think we need to find that ordinance and find out if it has been passed or not, and then maybe go down that road, because as people get older and forget things,
What?
it'll be on there, and we won't have to wonder where the finger system is, where the septic tank is on this parcel, because the parcel number will be on the permit, and the permit will tell you where everything is.
I agree, this was talked about several months ago, and I don't remember what happened with it, but I agree, the parcel number needs to be on that. So let's try to go back when we get time, I know you don't have time, to dig up that ordinance to see whatever happened to that, because there is a checkbox for that, right?
Well, what I was told was there is a line in the software that they
Yes.
use where they can type the parcel number. If it's easy as that, we should do it.
Yep.
If we,
That parcel number line needs to be added. If it's not, it's been a while since I've seen a septic
Okay.
application and/or building application.
Right.
so is it on, do you know?
It is on the building department applications for permits, I don't know about septic.
Okay, so when it's recorded, that's when we need it in both places, but, right? I thought I heard that the recorder has that option, but we need to check, and make sure.
I'll find out tomorrow,
Okay.
I'll be up there tomorrow, I'll just actually record it, but I agree, well, let's look that up and find out.
All righty.
Yep. Elected officials, department heads. You got anything, sir?
Couple quick things. I sent a revised policy for the highway department addressing callback pay.
Yes.
Probably ought to be a vote on that, whether you would accept that as a new county policy.
Now, there was two of those, right?
Well,
There's a part-time and there's a callback. The callback policy,
now I'm just talking about callback.
yeah.
Okay.
And that's where a county highway employee is called. They get called at 5 o'clock. From the time they get called and to the time they leave,
They get called.
They get called.
The time starts when they leave, but if, they're sent right back home and they don't spend a full 2 hours, they still get paid 2 hours
I
for
agree.
being called out. And
then,
apparently you've been doing that for a long time.
yes. Yeah, I'm good with that. I think that's the way it should be. I mean,
So is that a motion?
Yeah. This is an actual copy of what the policy would look like when it goes into effect.
highway employees who are called out for emergency or after-hours work shall be paid from the time the employee is contacted at his or her residence. The employee shall receive compensation for a minimum of 2 hours or until the work is completed. I don't have any problem with that.
Nope.
Norm, what's your thoughts?
Looks good to me.
I'll make a motion that we adopt this into the personnel policy.
I'll say.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. 3-0.
Okay, two more things. One, you mentioned that, not the next meeting, but the meeting after that is July 17th. I will be on vacation then, I won't be here for that.
Seriously? What's that about going on vacation on 17th? Okay. That's fine, though.
I'm not going to invite you with me either. It's me and my wife only.
Understand.
Other thing is, I know I shared some information about full-time versus part-time. We don't need to talk about that today. Maybe we talk about that separately. I can sort of fill you in on more details. And
Yeah, because I
we can
want
talk about how to fix that.
I want to address that at next meeting about part-time.
Yeah,
We talked about it, Paulie, remember, we talked about that.
we just need to talk about, real briefly, under federal law, two sets of hours count. Whether you work more than 40 hours, which case you get overtime, and whether you work 30 hours or more. okay? Federal law says if you work more than 40, you get overtime. If you work more than 30, you're entitled to health insurance. Your policy's a little inconsistent about how you define under your ordinances what amounts to part-time and what's full-time. And we just need to talk that through so we're clear about what you want. And once you make that clear to me, I'll write it up in a way that fixes the issue. And we don't need to fix it now.
Yeah.
That's what the issue is.
Yeah, and it's a simple fix as far as I'm concerned. I'm from the old school. But we will address that between now and the next meeting and come to that.
That is all I have.
I got one more thing. Yeah, wait a minute, public comment. Public? Brother, what are you here for, man? You didn't come see me, did you?
Yeah, did.
Did you? I haven't seen you in long. You doing okay?
Yep, doing fine.
What do you got? What do you need, man?
I didn't know who won the bids for the Owen County roads for the clearing of the trees, the new pavement.
Did you turn in a bid?
Yeah, I did.
Okay. Yes. We're not, once again, it's not a really a delay tactic. We are going to look at some more numbers because we're in a financial crisis, a serious financial crisis. But I'll tell everybody right out here right now, whether you like it or not, we ain't paving no roads until the ditches are ditched, the trees are cut, and the culverts are put in. That's it. We have to, and I know you guys, what name was you under? I can't remember the bids.
Garden.
Okay. I'm going to discuss this more with Greg. And we're going over some numbers too, because it's expensive. But the fact of it is, we have a community crossroad grant roads that's got to be paved. We ain't paving no roads until the trees are cut, the culverts put in. And we got some reprieve because we don't have to have all those roads done this year, but we have to have them done next year. But if we don't do it right, we're wasting taxpayers' money. I mean, we're not even buying stone.
We actually did all five.
Are we, Greg? We're not even buying a load of stone anymore because we got, just in my area alone, I went out and did a random check and, you know, we had 700 some trees need to be gutted and probably, I think 130, 140 culverts need to be put in. And over 1.5 million ton of stone washed off the road. Now, I'm not wasting taxpayers' money. We got graders out there, excavate, whatever we got to bring that stone back to the road. And I had a comment brought to me, said, well, some of that stone that they got is a little bit dirty. Move out of the county. Sorry, we got to utilize what we got because we're in it doesn't make any sense just to keep spreading stone, If we ditch it properly, culvert properly, cut the trees, we're more apt to blacktop people's roads than we are now. But we're wasting thousands and thousands of dollars on stone. Correct, Greg? Hundreds of thousands of dollars. So we're going to do it right. It is a process. But we need to look over the money figures again for the tree cutting. It's a must. It's got to be done. So I ask you to come back on July 17th meeting unless you're going to be on vacation with everybody else.
If somebody will invite me, yeah, I'll go.
You're invited.
All right.
Not to.
Not with me.
No.
Oh, sorry, can't go.
What about vacation?
We'll have answers on tree cutting, and this is just, I'm going to give you my opinion, okay? I think personally we're going to have to utilize more than one service to get this job done. Because once we start, we got to go. There's going to be no stopping. Because we got to get the community crossroads grant roads, we got to get them paved. So July 17th, I have an answer for you.
Are you gonna put any bids out for the ditching and culvert pipe replacement?
Gray says he can take care of that in-house, he says. Now, and Greg already knows this, and we've talked about this, if he gets in a bind and he's getting behind the 8 ball, absolutely. Because if we don't put the culverts in or don't do the ditching, if you don't get the water off the roads, you're wasting taxpayers' money. I'm not gonna do it. No more. Dave? I think Dave's.
I guarantee you I won't.
We just can't do it. We're just wasting too much money. July 17th, be here. Have an answer for you.
There's a creek down by me. Let's go.
You two men in the back, you're just as quiet as can be. You got nothing? You got nothing?
Just getting to know the county.
Yeah. I got one other thing. What, who?
I thought this guy over here raised his hand. Did you?
Did I miss something?
I got 3 more documents that need to be signed.
I've had it. I've had it with you.
Yes, sir.
You just might have to wait, okay? No.
Yes, sir.
We'll get that in just a second. Heather, you got anything? I appreciate what you're doing, what you and Sean are both doing. You guys are making good progress. I appreciate that. I hear a lot of good comments from the public. I appreciate that. My prayers out to everybody through the storm, stuff like that. Hats off to dispatch, and I know you took a bunch of calls, and law enforcement and the county highway.
Last night was the most calls I've ever seen on one night.
Yeah.
Never seen that many calls.
Well, I got a call because they said the scaffolding's blowing off the roof at the courthouse. So, you know, I'm at home and it's getting it. The sheriff texted me. I'm like, God, the sheriff texted me of all people, now I gotta go, you know, so I went out and I got to witness some trees being blown down. I mean, I'm right, I thought I was gonna turn a truck over. But the sheriff said that, so I'll come up and look, but I also want to say my hat's off to the citizens. A lot of people have stepped up, a ton of people throughout the county and in town to help clear some stuff. So my hat's off to the citizens because that's what it takes, working together.
We had a DNR employee who was on his way home yesterday, and him, a couple other citizens cleared a tree out of the road on Allison, so we got it home too. I mean, I see it everywhere too, people jumping in and out.
And, you know, the people of Owen County, I've been here a long, long time. I see people of Owen County just jumping to it and getting things done because they care. So hats off to the citizens.
Can we just issue all the citizens a chainsaw, everybody?
Yeah, that's Paul if they can afford that.
We covered by this. I got one last thing that's kind of relates to the storm, and I'm sure everybody's familiar, it seems like, that we've been hit by a lot of storms. The last few years, we've been very fortunate. Unfortunate in some circumstances, we've had some people lost their lives and stuff like this. And I brought this up in the last meeting, and Paula, we've talked about this. Jack White, EMA, or Emergency Management, he has $0 for disaster relief, zero. Now, we have options, and we've talked about this. There's no reason why Jack doesn't have a fund line item for disaster, not emergency. It's not a food bank. This is for disaster relief. Tornado comes through, something like that happens. Jack needs to be able to have hands-on to be able to, if you need some tarps or something like that, or water, or MREs, or food supply, or whatever, something like that, for disaster only, not emergency. There's a difference. Jack works with disasters. So we've talked about this a couple of different times. Paulie, I think we talked about it a little bit, and I think you're in agreement with it too. We have some money from the restricted fund pays for the DARE officer. The opioid money for the restricted pays for the DARE officer. We have some unrestricted funds from opioid money, and we have in that right now $91,000. Okay. We also have some dormant funds, correct, Sheila? That I want to see us create a fund and move some of the restricted fund opioid money and the dormant fund money to the EMA for disaster relief only. Not emergency relief, disaster relief. I've talked to Jack today that he needs to come up with guidelines for what exactly the disaster is. And he's going to put that together for our next meeting, sir. And with that being done, when he gets that put together and the attorney agrees with it, I want to move money from the restricted funds and also the dormant funds into whatever we create. Unrestricted. The restricted is for the DARE officer. You guys got any, chime in what you think about that? He has no dollars right now for disaster relief. And I'll kick this in as well. The Red Cross, I've dealt with them myself. I've dealt with them since I've been commissioner. No help. They said they would set up an establishment for like 4 or 5 counties wide. Folks, we have to take care of our own people. We have to. It's our obligation, just like getting out moving the trees or whatever the case may be. We need to be able to help provide to a certain extent to help our own people when a disaster happens, not an emergency crisis, a disaster. What's your guys' thoughts?
No, I think Jack needed that back when the tornado hit up there and we lost people's lives. And his hands are tied. And he would call and ask for help and they were, oh, well, we're 2 or 3 weeks out of it. You know, that's unacceptable. So,
Sheila, when we talked about this before, you gave us fund numbers that money could be moved from. What were those fund numbers again?
There is a half a dozen of them.
Okay.
We go back, we need to review a couple with Jack, I think there is. There was the regional sewer district that no longer exists,
Right.
like 900 and some thousand, he has 1,235 in a line item from a prior grant years ago. Which I think it's $135. So there's little amounts that can go toward it as well as the unrestricted.
Yeah.
But the commissioners have other funds, council has availability, you can use some of your storage unit money to be transferred to it, you know, council can give a one-time whatever.
What's the fund number it's gonna go into? Does that exist yet? Okay.
That's great.
Yeah,
All right.
which right now it will be 9182 unless something else comes before then, because that's our current next number.
Because in the opioid restricted fund, you have 129,765, but that money is committed to the DARE officer and some other things. But the unrestricted fund, which is all of it's under the purview of the commissioners, but in this fund here, we got $91,257. You know, there's absolutely no reason, and just my 2 cents worth, why we can't move $40,000 into a different fund for him. That still leaves us quite a bit of money, and we get this money back every January for the next, how many years? 27 years. I don't want to touch the restricted fund because, like I say, DARE officer's been used out of that, and I'm sure there's going to be other programs and things like that we can use that money for. But if we, you know, if we move 40,000 this year and looked at some of these dormant funds and stuff like that, to have him a cash balance, and that cash balance can roll over from year to year. You don't have to use it. And there's gonna be guidelines attached to it. It ain't just like you just spend it. It's got to be guidelines attached to it. And I told him to come up with guidelines to get with the attorney to make sure it satisfies everybody's, you know, stuff like that. I just think it's something that's been needed for a long time. That's just my thoughts.
I agree with that.
Okay, so you'll have that drafted up for you, and then you can present it to us, and we can go from there. Paul, you got anything you want to talk about? You got anything? Mr. Wright? You just happy to be here? You going on vacation too? Did you get married?
Yeah.
Congratulations too, sir. Where'd you? Never mind. I'm not gonna tell you when I'm going on vacation, I just won't show up.
Okay.
Is that good enough?
All right.
Yeah. Anybody else got anything? You two gentlemen want to talk about anything at all?
I don't want to take time.
That's what we're here for.
Well, I'm Shane Kelleher. I work at Jansen Spans Engineering, and this is my colleague, Ron. Hi, Norm. He lives here in Owen County, so we wanted to professionally start getting to know the county and build a relationship.
I appreciate you guys coming. we have open meetings. We let the public talk, so anytime you got anything to say, don't hold back, okay? So, anybody else got anything? Donnie?
Sir.
I'll sign your stuff, okay? Meeting adjourned.